Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zulaika binti Yasin from BA 2462A and this is my financial ratio video presentation. So let's get started. So I will be presenting these two companies' financial ratio by comparing with their own performance for 3 years, which is 2016, 2017 and 2018, and also making cross-sectional analysis by the year 2018. So these two listed company is Bosted Plantation Berhad and MHC Plantation Berhad. So a little bit about the company is Bosted Plantation Berhad is one of the most experienced and long-run oil palm companies in Malaysia. This company was backed by BHBs present in the plantation business. They have over 100 years of plantations industry experience and over 50 years of oil palm plantation estate management experience. So the competitors of Bosted Plantation Berhad probably is MHC Plantation Berhad. This company is start operating since the year 1960 and been listed in Bursa since the year 2000. So what are the purpose of financial ratio analysis? Generally, financial ratio will help entrepreneur to evaluate company's performance and compare it with previous year and similar business in the same industry. Compare it with the previous year is the trend analysis, and the similar business in the same industry is cross-section analysis. However, each ratio has its own function. I will explain the function as we go through it after this. So, in this presentation, I will be presenting 4 types of current ratio, and I will give 2 examples of each type. So, for example, for liquidity ratios, I will give 2 ratios. For efficiency ratios, I will give 2 ratios. And first, for liquidity ratios, liquidity ratio will help a company to measure their ability to pay off their short-term debts by using their current asset or quick asset. So the formula of current ratio is current asset divided by current liability, and net working capital equal to current asset minus current liability. For efficiency ratios, efficiency ratios is also called by activity ratios. These ratios will help company evaluate how efficient a company use its asset and liabilities to generate sales and maximize their profits. So for average collection period, account receivable divided by credit sales multiplied by 360. For fixed asset turnover is sales divided by net fixed asset. So next is leverage ratio. Leverage ratio is also called by solvency ratio. This ratio will help to show companies' debt level with its asset, equity, and earnings. It is also to evaluate the likelihood of a company staying afloat after the long haul by paying off its long-term debt as well as the interest on its debt. So the formula of debt ratio is total debt divided by total asset multiplied by 100. And for debt equity ratio, long-term debt divided by total equity multiplied by 100. Next is profitability ratios. Profitability ratios, the ratio will convey how well a company can generate profits from its operation. So return on asset is equal to net income divided by total asset multiplied by 100. And for return on equity, net income divided by equity multiplied by 100. Okay, I will start analyzing the ratio by trend analysis. As I said before, trend analysis is comparing the company's own performance by the year. 3 years. I choose 2016, 2017, and 2018. As we can look here, this is the ratio after I use the formula I explained before for MHC and Boston. So the higher the ratio or current ratio is, the easier the company to pay its debt. I will explain using the bar graph. So the higher the ratio, the easier the company to pay debt. The current ratio for BPB for 2017 is higher than the ratio in 2016. It means that the company's ability to pay short-term debt is improving. It's easier for this company to pay its creditor on time, but the current ratio decreased in 2018 compared to 2017, which is worse than the ratio in 2016. If the ratio is below 1, it indicates a cash problem. The best current ratio is between 1.5 to 2. So the current ratio for MHC plantation is 0.07 in 2016 and increased to 0.84 in 2017 and decreased to 0.11 in 2018. It means that MHC has 0.07 times and 0.84 times and 0.11 times more current asset than current liabilities in 2016, 2017 and 2018 respectively. MHC has not yet reached a stable cash flow which is a 1.5 and to 2 current ratio. If the current ratio of companies is low, it's harder for the companies to get approved for bank loan because the company show that they can't pay their short-term debt with its current asset. So moving on to the net working capital ratio. This ratio will help company to measure the company's ability to pay the current liabilities with its current asset. The positive value indicates the company can afford to pay current liabilities and still can have balance of current asset to grow operation, while the negative value means the current asset is not enough to pay the current liability. So the current value in 2016 and 2018 indicates that Boston did not have current asset to cover their current liability, while in 2017, the positive value means that BPB, Boston still has a balance of current asset after covering their current liabilities, which is good enough. Net working capital for MHC are all negative for the past 3 years. If these negative numbers continues, MHC seems to have problems, seems to need to sell some of their fixed assets to pay the debt. It could lead to company bankruptcy. So, next is efficiency ratios. For average collection period ratio measures how many days the company takes to collect from their receivables. The shortest it takes, the more efficient the company manage their client. So the average collection period for Boston in 2017 is higher compared to 2016. It means that client of Boston takes more days in 2017 compared to 2016 to pay their debt, which is troublesome. As in 2018, the average collection period decreased, which indicates that Boston take less time to collect debt from their receivables. The lesser the days, the more efficient the company in managing their receivables. So for MHC plantation, they take 51 to 28 and 71 days in 2016, 2017, and 2018, respectively, to collect debt from their clients. MHC is very efficient in managing their receivables. In 2017, within 28 days collection period compared to 2016 and 2018, which take more longer period. So for the fixed asset turnover here, this ratio will show how much portion of sales is generated from fixed asset investment. Generally, the higher the value, the more effective the company's investment in fixed assets. So for Boston, here, this is Boston. The ratio in 2017 is higher than the ratio in 2016. The value of 0.18 in 2017 means that 0.18 times of sales is generated by every 1 ringgit in fixed asset investment. As for 2018, the fixed asset turnover decreased to 0.07 times. It means in 2018, only 0.0 times of sale is generated from every 1 ringgit in fixed asset investment. So for MHC, the fixed asset turnover is constant for the past 3 years, which is 0.02, means that MHC generates 0.02 times more sales from 1 ringgit of their fixed asset. So let's continue to leverage ratio. So this is the ratio, the figure. You can look here, the decrease and increase, but to be more clear, let's use the graph so that you can see the increase and decrease here. So for debt ratio, it can be defined as the proportion of the company asset that are provided by creditors. Generally, the higher the ratio, the greater financial risk of the company, which is not good. In 2016, the value of 36% means that 36% of assets of BPBs are financed by debt. The ratio decreased in 2017 to 12%, indicates only 12% of the asset is covered by debt, which is better than 2016. The debt ratio increased in 2016 and 2018 until 41%, shows that assets that are provided by creditors are increased. For MHC plantation debt ratio in 2018, the lowest is the lowest compared to 2016 and 2017. It shows that the assets that are provided by creditors are increasing. The debt equity ratio helps people to know the percentage of company financing that comes from creditors and investors. The higher the debt equity ratio means that the more company creditor financing than investor financing. The debt equity ratios of Boston in 2017 shows a slight increase from 2016, which is 0.3% to 0.35%. The debt ratio continues to increase to 23% in 2018. It shows that Boston debt financing has increased for the past 3 years. The debt equity ratio for MHC decreased to 0.003% in 2017 from 0.97% in 2016 and increased to 0.3% in 2018. It shows that the assets that are supported by debts are increasing in 2018. So, for profitability ratios, these are the figures, and as usual, we use the graph. Return on asset here helps to measure the net income produced by a total asset. This ratio will show how effective the company can manage its asset to produce profit. The higher the ratio, the higher the income produced by asset. So return on asset for Boston in 2016 is 8.5, indicate that only 8.5% of income is produced by asset. The ratio increased to 30% in 2017, but the ratio decreased a lot in 2016, which is 0.96%. Boston Plantation efficiency in managing assets in 2018 is worse than the past 2 years. For MHC Plantation, return on asset in 2016 is 1.16%, which means that only 1.16% of the net income is generated by total asset. The ratio increased to 2.63% in 2017, indicates that in 2017, the company has increased the efficiency in managing assets as the return on asset increased, while in 2018, 2.67% of the MHC net income is generated by its assets. So next is return on equity. This ratio measure the company's ability to get return from shareholders' investment. The higher the ratio, the higher the profit that is generated by equity in the company. Return on equity for Boston in 2017 increased to 33% compared to 13% in 2016, and the ratio decreased to 1.62% in 2018. It means that the person indicates the net income is generated by equity for each year. The return on equity of MHC in 2016, 2017, and 2018 are 1.3, 3.2, and 2.9% respectively. The percentage represent the percentage of the net income produced by equity of the company. So that's all for trend analysis, and moving on to the cross-sectional analysis for both company. This analysis will compare both company performance in the year 2018. So first is liquidity ratio, as usual. These are the figures and this is the graph. You can see here the current ratio of Boston is higher than MHC, which means that Boston has 0.52 times more current asset than current liability, while MHC only has 0.11 times of current asset than current liability. So to conclude, MHC was able to pay its creditor faster than Boston Plantation was able to pay its creditor faster than MHC Plantation. For net working capital, for both companies is negative, means that both companies have not enough current asset to cover their current liabilities. But BPB is better because negative working capital is lower than MHC, as you can look here. So next is average, efficiency ratio that have average collection period and fixed asset turnover. Average collection period for Boston is longer than MHC. Boston takes 295 days to collect from their clients, while MHC only takes 71 days. It shows that MHC is more efficient in managing their client as the average collection period is shorter. For the fixed asset turnover of BPB is higher than MHC. BPB sales are 0.07 times from fixed asset investment, while MHC sales are only 0.02 times from their fixed asset investment. It shows that BPB is able to utilize their machine and equipment better than MHC plantation. So moving on to the leverage ratio. Debt ratio of MHC plantation is better than as the ratio is lower here. Only 7.74% of MHC asset is financed by their debt, while 41% of Boston asset is financed by their debt, which is not good. It shows that MHC is more stable with potential of longevity than Boston plantation. For the debt equity ratio of MHC is less than BPB, less than Boston. Therefore, MHC is less risky than Boston as MHC is more to equity financing, while Boston is debt financing. Boston has a higher percentage of assets that are supported by debt than their equity compared to MHC plantation. So moving on to the next ratio is profitability ratios. The return on asset for MHC is higher. Look here, is higher than Boston. 2.67% of MHC net income is generated by their asset, while only 0.96% of Boston net income is generated by their asset. It shows that MHC plantation is more efficient than BPB in managing their asset to generate income. So, next is the return on equity. The return on equity for MHC is higher than Boston. 2.9% of MHC net income is generated by their equity, while 1.62% of BPB Boston net income is generated by equity. It shows that MHC is more efficient in managing their equity compared to BPB, Boston plantation. Objective of financial analysis is basically to identify the firm's strength and the weakness and improve its performance and remain competitive in the industry. So in conclusion, Boston plantation Berhad performance in converting their asset into cash is better compared to MHC plantation Berhad. It proved that when Boston plantation Berhad current ratio is higher and the negative net working capital is lesser than MHC plantation Berhad. While for efficiency, MHC plantation Berhad is doing better in collecting debt from clients, and Boston plantation Berhad is better in generating sales from their net fixed asset. MHC plantation has better performance in terms of leverage ratios. It will give a good impression and confidence for investors to invest in their company as the debt ratio is low. As for the profitability ratios, MHC plantations shows better performance than Boston Plantation Berhad in both ratios. Investors are likely to invest in MHC Plantation Berhad as they have the ability to generate their asset and equity to make higher net income. Okay, that's the conclusion. So lastly, I will provide how the company can use the ratio to help the company grow. First is they need to determine which ratios are relevant. Every ratios, as you know, as I explained before, has a different kind of insight into your business. How you use them depends on your particular goals. If you want to grow and need to raise capital, your net profit margin will be the key. And the more profit you can show, the better the chances of raising the cash. Next example is if you just launch a new product, you'll want to track your inventory turnover to make sure you are aligned with the demand. You want to see that the inventory you keep isn't old news, and that people want to buy the product like that. Second is you need to keep track over the time. Once you've determined which ratios to use, you must compare the result over time to pick out trends or changes in your business performance. If your net profit margin climbed regularly for 3 years and then took a dip, you have to see what are the changes. For example, were your revenues down in one quarter, or have your costs gone up, or maybe do you need to take any action? You have to do that. Third is you have to benchmark your business. You also need to know how your business compared to others in your industry. With ratios, there is no magic number a business should strive for. Every company and every industry is different. You need to know the industry average. However, give you a general sense of where you want to be. Average ratio are also available for complete sectors and companies of comparable size. Use this as benchmark to see how you stack up next to the competition and to set realistic improvement goals. So, lastly, you have to use ratio to drive strategy. The insight that come from the ratio you use should shape the direction of your business plan. For example, if you are not turning over your receivable fast enough, you may have a cash flow problem. You can address that by changing your procedures or company culture to collect payments more proactive. So, or if you see your inventory is turning over too slowly, you may need to look at your product mix and either add something new or get rid of something old. So that's all from me. Thank you.